There's a key catchers in it.
Most yellow t-shirt in the world.
Where do you get that from?
Primark. £6.
T-shirts though.
Yeah, I had to realise, I had to make the decision of I am now a large. It's like mediums do not fit me. I've got to buy large t-shirts.
Now.
The most depressing thing of going, just put like 10 large t-shirts into a thing. I guess I'll wear these from now on. This is my life.
It's not a bad large.
It's large for muscle.
It's
not
muscle large.
It's large because I'm a large boy. The largest boy. While the game may not look it today, when the game was first released in 1996, Crash Bandicoot was considered to be a technical marvel. To such an extent, industry experts and even Sony themselves didn't understand how exactly the game worked on PlayStation hardware.
So a lot of people have probably played the Crash Bandicoot Insane trilogy.
They may have done, yeah.
Not long been released, so Crash Bandicoot, the old one, might look a bit crap compared to the new one.
It looks terrible. And we should probably explain to people who may have only just played, the remaster, or maybe not even played Crash at all, and are only familiar, the legend that is, the Bandicoot of Destiny. Although the game, admittedly, it does look dated today by modern standards, at the time it was considered to be cutting edge. As I mentioned in the intro, to such an extent, industry experts didn't know how it worked, and some of whom actually thought that test footage of the game running on a PlayStation 1 was actually fake, because they thought, oh, it's too advanced. And that's my favourite thing in video games. I don't know about anyone else. Just the idea of fake screenshots is bullshit in video games. Bullshots, I believe they're called. Things I'm not sure if you've actually played many video games, but you do like Uncharted, don't you?
Yeah, I've played that.
So I've got a mission for you to put a clip in of, and it was the E3 presentation of Uncharted 4, where the game crashed, and if I remember correctly, I think Drake just fell through the world. Drake just stops walking, and it's oh. But they managed to save it because they have that little thing about not representative of final game. It's you fucking better not be. Oh, and there's so many. I think it was a Final Fantasy one, where it's Final Fantasy 15's getting showed off at E3 again. And the guy was fighting a boss and clearly got his ass stomped by this boss and was about to die. And you can tell that at that moment, someone behind the scenes and just activated invincibility mode to give him more health because this guy's about to get wrecked by the fucking computer. So what games are you looking forward to coming out though?
Well, I know the Crash Team Racing's being redone, which is an old classic.
Brad's in the room and I can see the smile spreading across his face. He's just there pretending he's going to drive his little cart. Oh man!
It's just, I love old games like that. Same with Spyro. I just love the old nostalgia and.
Yeah, what's your character though? Who's your main in Crash Team Racing? I need to know.
It's always a toss up between Coco or Purah.
Damn fucking right, it's Coco. Coco's the best. Do you know I love Coco Bandicoot as well?
Why?
Because in the new Crash remaster, she always carries a laptop and she protects that shit. It's she's like a student going to uni. Doesn't matter if she's riding a tiger at Mach 3 across the back of the Great Wall, or if she's just kicking some fucking frog ass surrounded by knights. That laptop stays in her hand and she uses it as a weapon. She's doing laptop combos to knights. Get fucked.
She can always update her Facebook status.
whenever she needs to go. She also has her version of the Crash Dance, which I fucking love. The famous, you put in the clip in, I don't care. The Crash Dance is so fucking good. And so I contend that's the coolest dance move ever done. And audience at home, and specifically the ladies, if a guy did the Crash Dance in the middle of a dance floor and it ends like the Bleh! Right, so would you or would you not go home with that guy? Because I think I would. I don't swing that way, but I might be tempted if someone did the perfect Crash Dance, complete with the face at the end, and went, "Can I buy you a drink?" Well, I don't ordinarily say this, but fuck yeah, you can. It's got everything that a dance move needs. It's got, the footwork, the crotch thrusts, and the stupid face. And it also supports my theory that Crash fucks. So have you heard about this?
No.
No. This is the first video you're editing, and we're going to discuss Crash Bandicoot's fucking habits. So let's go. Right. And for some reason, a lot of the advertising for Crash Bandicoot, which there will be examples of behind me, I'm sure, they seem to portray Crash like a bad boy. Leather jacket wearing Crash is a thing. Bad boy Crash. There's adverts of him just in bed with 14 hot Bandicoot women, and one of him at the toilet with his knob out, just looking at people. And then he had the tribal tattoo. So Crash was the bad boy of gaming for a while, and everyone seems to forget. And there was something officially released by Naughty Dog where they actually got a Crash Bandicoot fucking driver's license, which a guy in a mascot costume, this is true, you can put this in, Bandicoot costume posed for a photo for a driver's license that has Crash's information on it, including the word sex, next to which he's just written the word yes. Which means Crash is all about getting his fuck on. And what you need to do now is I want you to zoom in on that face on that fucking photo and put it right there with the sex yes underneath it so people know. So people know what Crash is about. The thing is though, what video game character do you think fucks the most?
Oh god.
Because video game characters are like weirdly like sexless beings. And the more heroic and badass a character is, the less they're interested in it. Like Leon Kennedy, Ultimo Badass of Resident Evil, who can backflip away from like explosions and stuff. He never seems to show any interest in women, including like the super hot mega spy Ada Wong, who's constantly trying to grind upon his dick. No video game character fucks as much as Crash. It can't be done. That's what I mean. You can't imagine no video game character like hero fucks. Only Crash. Only Crash gets his end away. He's the hero. So you can never imagine like Mario getting his fuck on, can you? You can never imagine like Luigi getting his... Well, actually, no, I bet Luigi gets mad laid all the time. So it's like second brother syndrome. But like video game characters, I suppose, even the ones that are like super hardcore, like Marcus Phoenix, even though I know he's got a son, I don't imagine that character ever like, you know, just laying down with his wife and just getting his groove on. But then you think like Crash, and he's just like, his sexuality is just out and on display constantly in all of the marketing. And he just spins forever.
It's just the face he pulls as well, you know, when he jumps on the hog or the polar bear.
Oh yeah.
He turns around and looks at the camera like,
yeah, I'm gonna mount this hog, squeal like a piggy. Just the Deliverance theme just plays in the background. As well, that's my favourite level in Crash. Purely for the eyebrow raise where he looks at it and goes, yeah. Because then Coco does it as well. I love that shit. She gets the little wink, doesn't she? She's about to ride the tie. It's like, what is it about this family? And just dominating tiny animals. It's like when like Coco is like DOing her way across the thing, riding the tiger, and just Holy Diver plays in the background. Why does she have to wink at the camera first?
Maybe she's the one who fucks the hardest. Yeah.
Oh no, don't do it. Don't ruin Coco. Fucking hell, Nisha. Just dropping bombs in your first appearance. That actually reminds me of one of my favourite running jokes about like the new Smash game that some hero on Twitter started about the character Isabelle, who's from like Animal Crossing, and he's just this like adorable little dog, and someone online just like started this like just narrative that she's only in Smash to fuck anime boys. And there's loads of fan art of her just saying, I'm a strong independent woman who runs a city, but I also like fucking anime boys. Getting back on topic, going back to what I said before, you know, all the talk of like, you know, Crash getting his fuck on. When many people saw Crash for the first time, they assumed that the game wasn't actually running on PlayStation hardware, when it actually was, because the people making Crash just so happened to be god-tier computer buffs who knew exactly how far they could push PlayStation hardware before that shit started to break.
Give us an example of something they did to push the boundaries.
Well, one of my favourite examples of this is that during the development of Crash Bandicoot, they realised that we can only fit exactly 800 polygons on screen at any one time, and that's not a lot of polygons, because originally Crash Bandicoot had like a free moving camera. And they're like, well, this isn't great, this isn't enough room to put all the cool shit we want. So what someone suggested is putting a static camera, which is now like just a staple of the series. God, I forgot my words then. Just thinking too much about that Crash dance, man. I want to try it now. Next person who sees me on a dance floor is gonna see that shit. But yeah, they realised that if we put a static like, on-rails camera that just follows Crash, we can basically create the game world exactly as we want it to be. And there's plenty of videos out there of people who basically just like broken the camera and gone off screen. You can see that the world that Crash lives in only exists in like a 4-foot circle around him. Everything else is basically just generated as he walks. And you can find videos of it, and it's really fascinating because they've realised that what we can do is we can just put in like random rocks, ferns, stuff like that to cover parts of the environment. And then so obviously to hide the stuff that's behind it, when you walk past this fern, all the shit behind you goes off screen, no longer exists, freeing up more polygons to make an enemy appear. And in that way, there's always something on screen that you're approaching. And I think something else they did is like, okay, well, the world seems pretty sparse. We've got like the Wumpa Fruit, because the Wumpa Fruit apparently one of the first things they made. and they said, we could remove the Wumpa fruit, but we spent so much fucking time making this stupid fruit, we need it. That's got to be on screen. And there's enemies, but other than that, there's nothing really else to collect or like break apart. I went, how about a crate? There's nothing simpler to make than a crate. That's like 6 polygons right there. Just fill the game up with crates. And that's why the game is just filled with so many crates. Because they realise that's the easiest thing to render, and they're really fun and satisfying to break.
And also really annoying when you get to the end and you've missed one box.
One. And the thing is, well, they insult you by doing it, and they have the crate drop on your head. So I fucking hated that as a kid. So the only do it is like the second level. The first level you can get every crate, and then the second level is a hidden area that you don't realise is there, and you get to it, it's like you missed 12 crates.
Yeah, there's like on the first few levels there's like split paths.
Yeah.
And it's like I have to take one, but then you have to come back on
Yeah,
yourself.
and then
to
they've
come
got
and
the
get
second
boxes.
level. They have that bit where it's basically the crates are hidden above, and you have to like break them in a certain way and jump up and get it. And you don't know that. And as a kid, and I got to the end, I went, "How did I miss 12 crates?" I got every crate. Crash Bandicoot was fucking brutal in that regard. When it came, like the remaster came out, so many people like, I fucking hate this game. Like, what's the level like on the rope bridge?
Yeah, the Road to Nowhere.
Road to Nowhere. I fucking hate that level. And I remember there is a video out there somewhere on Snapchat of me and a mate trying to complete that level, and all you can hear is me screaming, "No! No!" 'Cause we had like 30 lives, and I got so pissed off. And we eventually just got the game and uninstalled it. We did that thing where it was just me, very, very calmly, paused the game, went over to Crash Bandicoot, uninstalled, and turned the PlayStation off. The team behind Crash utilised these and many other tricks to push the PlayStation hardware they were using to its theoretical limit, much to the surprise of Sony, who were genuinely surprised to see Crash run on their hardware.
Is there something that surprised Sony specifically?
Well, there is, yeah, because when they first booted up like a test copy of Crash, they looked at the data for it and went, hang on, why is Crash like forcing the PlayStation to read 300 kilobytes per second of data from the disc? Like, for reference, no other game on the PlayStation up to that point even came close to doing that. So as bad as it sounds, like, in modern context, it doesn't sound like a lot, but that was a fucking lot for a video game back then. And Sony were genuinely baffled about how the fuck they managed to do that. There are games that don't do this during their most taxing scenes, and this game is doing it constantly throughout the entire game. And that made some people quite nervous at Sony, because they realised, after doing some like, back of a napkin calculations, that the disc we put into the PlayStation is good for about 400,000 reads. If we ran a game of Crash in that, the disc would fail after 3 weeks of play. And that's based on a brand new PlayStation. And they were like, okay, so if we release this game as is, Crash Bandicoot will kill every PlayStation in the world in about 3 fucking weeks. And thankfully, those calculations were a bit off, because they underestimated like the lifetime of the laser. And there are still ones that work today, so that's fine. But they were still worried internally, according to people who made Crash Bandicoot, in like this oral recounting of how the game came about, that, yeah, someone at Sony was like really nervous that Crash Bandicoot was going to, and I quote, melt people's PlayStations because it taxed them so much, and no game up to that point had ever pushed the hardware to like as hard as Crash had. And I love that idea that the PlayStation was being taxed out of its fucking ass, not by Final Fantasy VII, not by one of those like those games that look fucking amazing or like take up 4 discs, but by Crash. This little jort-wearing Australian marsupial doing backflips and body slams while just infinite pimp slapping turtles into oblivion. That was the game that taxed the PlayStation. As you probably guessed by now, Crash didn't end up killing the PlayStation, but I would just like to remind everyone that for a brief and glorious moment in the 1990s, people at Sony were genuinely worried that their brand was going to be killed by this guy. This guy! I don't know which side you put the big sex face on. You know what? Surround me with sex faces, it's all done. So this is your first time doing one of these videos, isn't it, Nisha? And people may not have noticed from the Fact Fiend focuses, because you don't pay enough bloody attention, Nisha is the editor for those, and she's been brought in for these. Because you know what I'm doing? Big Wangers Inc. is expanding. As Big Wangers are wont to do. So how did you feel this being your first video, Nisha? And we had an in-depth discussion about how much Crash fucks.
Safe to say, childhood ruined.
It's not ruined, it's been improved, enhanced, I would say.
Yeah, definitely look at Crash a bit differently, but
No, you're looking at Crash the way Crash wants to be looked at. That's the way the developers intended Crash to come. Have you seen how fat his girlfriend's ass is in that game? Like, did you hear about? They had to make her less sexy.
yeah, because she's the character you save on them bonus levels, isn't
Yes.
it? And then gets stolen by Cortex at the last second.
She was too sexy. They had to sex down that Bandicoot. So Crash's girlfriend, fun fact, was too sexy for PlayStation. No, I hope you do enjoy editing this mess of a video, because I sure enjoyed recording it.
No, yeah, it's definitely been fun.
You're going to stick within the framework, I assume, of like, we keep the corners. The corners got to stay.
Oh, yeah.
And sets in the fact theme focuses, whatever. But I'm looking forward to all the weird editing shit you're going to put in now. If anyone's wondering, Brad's right there. He's just off camera. I told him not to talk. It's not his time. It's Nisha's time.
As people refer to me, Brad 2.
No, you've got your own.
Josh is Brad 2, you're Brad 3.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm second editor.
you call yourself whatever you want. You get to do all the credits. You put what you can do as well. Put your name in a bigger font than mine. There we go.
Just cover your face.
Do it, yeah. I want star wipes in this video because Brad never put star wipes in when I asked him to. Can you put a star?
Star wipes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
can you
yeah.
put at the end? Just put a star wipe in just for me. And I hope the comment section is kind. But you know that's a fucking oxymoron, isn't it? Don't be dicks, guys.
I've had a few nice comments.
Yeah, no, as well. Follow her on Twitter.
Midnight_niche.
Oh god, you might want to change that. I can feel the edge from here. I'm going to cut myself on that one. It's alright, Noir Angel 666.
Better than my old one, which was Illusion of Niche.
Oh, that's bad. My old gamer tag on Xbox was Darkish Dragoon. And I thought, there it is. Like, what a fucking nerd ass gamer tag is that? Oh no, I can tell this story 'cause it's fucking brilliant. We just had the Bear Clan on Xbox 360. And we because my mate ran, for some reason, oh god, that's fine. My mate on Xbox, it's alright, it's Brad's house. We used to make new accounts with a free month that Xbox Live gave us, and he made one called a brown bear. And so what we did is we got everyone to just rename their accounts as something bear, a brown bear, a big bear, a fluffy bear. So people was getting dunked on by the Bear Clan, and whenever people went on mic, we just growled at it. So we're just growling down the mic. Just fucking, oh man, we used to do so much fucking bullshit on that.